Greetings, Kyle here from Tippecanoe Herbs and Root Radical Herbal Academy. I'm here with our first plant of the archetypes of the sonic anatomy or the biofield. Call this the Sonic Bloom series. And this is a plant that likes to grow where people go. Right behind us, the camera here is the gate. This is the pathway into the garden. Here's the hose, a lot of activity going on around in here, a lot of steps, a lot of stomping. And wouldn't you know it, here's a plant that's growing that looks just like a footprint almost. I mean, look, the size of this leaf, I'll get closer in a second here, but you'll be able to see how this leaf is shaped like a footprint. This is Plantain. Plantago is the botanical name. This one looks like Plantago major, but all the species of plantain are interchangeable for the purpose of what I'm going to be talking about, and basically in herbalism as well. So, let me tell you a little bit about the plant, and then we'll get into the corresponding biofield aspect of it. So, like I said, the plantain grows where the planta goes, or the bottom of the foot is the planta. The plantar, you've heard of plantar fasciitis. Well, one of the things that we could learn about this plant right away is by tasting it. Of course, I've identified this as a plant that not only is safe to consume, but it's also edible. It's not just eatable. It's also edible. It's delicious, actually. A little tough, and really high and dense in nutritional chlorophyll. That's kind of what it tastes like. It tastes like the bottom of a lawnmower. Yum! But the flavors that I get, the energetic flavors that I get in this plant seems like opposite flavors, almost like competing flavors. And if we were to make a binary of flavor profiles. The first is astringent. So what it's doing and making it difficult for me to speak is that it's taking away the saliva in my mouth. It's pulling the tissues that are in my mouth tighter together, and that's what we call astringent. And astringency relates to tone. And so what I can learn about this plant just by simply tasting it is that it improves the tone within organ systems that it works. The other flavor it comes a little later and it comes after masticating it a little bit, is demulcent. Demulcent means gooey, slimy. That in this particular one is gooey, slimy. It's also got a little bit of mineral mucilage to it as well. So it's a combination of tightening and moistening at the same time. Or we could say drying and dampening. That's why it seems like kind of opposites. And that's why it makes this plant a really, really beneficial plant for the fascia. That's what fascia likes to be. It likes to move through phases of holding its form, holding tone, as well as having the phase to move out of such structure and into more of a liquid form, keeping us mobile, keeping us flexible. All of that relates to water element. In particular, like right now, the sun is in the sign of Cancer. And I think of Cancer as like a really nice example of fascia. You know, across the way from Cancer is Capricorn. Capricorn rules the structure, the hard bones. And Cancer, being a water sign, a primary water sign, has a lot to do with also having that structure and form, but more in that water way. And so the fascia has a lot to do with it. So this plant is one of the greatest allies for plantar fasciitis. And if I was working with this plant for plantar fasciitis, I would simply do something what I'm doing now. I would take some of the plant, big old leaf probably, chew it up, and plop it on the bottom of my foot. There's something about one's own saliva that helps initiate this process. Okay, you don't want to put your spit ball wad on the bottom of your foot. You can just grind it up. You can just put it into a tea and strain it. The idea here, though, is because it's growing on the path, because it grows in sidewalks, it grows in places. You know, one of the things that I like to think about with plantain is that it says, oh, I see what you did here. You put a bunch of concrete here. Silly person. I'm just gonna return it back to nature. So it starts to bring its roots down into the concrete, break up the concrete a little bit, and somehow, even though there's seemingly no soil there, it finds a way to provide nourishment to itself and thrive. So right here where it's been stepped on a million times, the ground is really compact and hard. It also is thriving here. So what that's saying is that it's got this great capability of drawing up something from, from an unknown source and lifting it out. And this combination of astringency, tightening, and demulcency, which is kind of like coating an area or coating a particular tissue in this mucilage, in this structured water, has this ability to draw things out. So this is why it's really beneficial for splinters or even venomous bites or, venomous stings, things like that, where there's an element of heat and swelling, like a mosquito bite. It's hot, it's red, it's a little swollen. And I always tell people, I put on my used car salesman jacket and hat and say, look, I give it a kick. Look at this bad boy right here. It's capable of pulling out 100 mosquito bites in a single day. I give you the Plantain guarantee. All you gotta do is take a piece of plantain, chew it up in your mouth, plop it on your mosquito bite, rub it in a little bit. Yeah, your arm will get a little green, but I'll tell you what, if that don't work, if that don't make your mosquito bites not itchy the next day, your money back guaranteed. So your money back, right? As in like the money that you spent on picking it, not, the money that you made a transaction with me, of course. That's the Plantain guarantee. It's so effective at drawing things out. So I see this corresponding in the biofield in the left foot. The left foot in the biofield speaks to, trying to bend down for the camera here. The left foot in the biofield speaks to where we've been stuck. And it also has this element of, boy, did I screw up that path that I've been on. It brought me to here. If we look at the Fool card, the feet have a element of where are we going and how did we get there. And if we look at the Fool card represents going into the journey, right? It's the zero. It's like the next step, and everything that follows in the Arcana is the Fool's journey. So every moment can be a Fool's journey. If we look at the Fool card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the left foot is planted, and the right foot is the one that's going over the edge. If we look at the foot or the Thoth deck, the right foot is exposed, and the left foot is planted against the side. So isn't it interesting that the word plantain kind of sounds like plantain, like your planted foot? And I'm making a generalization here because some people are left-footed or they're pitchers and they use their right foot to plant down on the pitching mound. But in general, I guess cultural gait, it's the right foot that leads the way. And so that's why we use terms like I'm on the right path. We're talking about different forms of the word right, but it's still there. And the left foot is, this is what I'm planted in. So if we felt like, man, did I screw up this path? Have I screwed up this path that I'm on? Is there something in nature that would show us? Silly you've been making mistakes this whole time, but I got you. This is the perfect path. This is the perfect path because look what I can do. I can thrive in this path. So speaking to the left foot in the biofield anatomy, when there's an imbalance in that, I definitely feel like a lot of times the energy that is most present in the left foot is stuck, and almost like hopelessly stuck, perhaps. It appeals to the victim story in people where, excuse. I can't move forward because of this. I can't move forward because of that. And do we find remedy in this plant for this energetic pattern? I mean, that's not really what this archetypical lesson is about. It's not really Plantain for victim story, can't get my feet going. But in a way, Plantain, the spirit of Plantain is teaching us about the perfection of where we stand, of the path that we're on is the perfect path that we've been on. It brought us to the moment that we're at. And it also gives us remedy to pull ourselves out. So I would use Plantain for pulling out splinters, for pulling out dust that somebody breathed in because they're a carpenter or something like that. Or they're remodeling their home and they have a whole bunch of stuff. pulling out particulates, pulling out that which is unwanted. But I also think about the spirit of plantain for drawing out all these wood chips. My knee is getting all scraped up from these wood chips. What I really want to do is put my knee on this plantain. What I really want to do is put my feet on this plantain. And I can feel it right now. The plantain's going, oh yeah, crush me, step on me. I love it. That's what gives me the courage to thrive and grow, is to know that a path is well trodden down, and that the support that you have in that path that's trodden down. There's some other signatures that I think are really interesting too, like the way that this plant just grows towards the sun. It's got a great from the springtime to the summer solstice, this plant is just up. It has this upwards element to it with the flower that comes up, and it even has like a serpent-like signature. Again, drawing out which is unwanted, drawing out the venom. And it reminds me of, the name slips my mind right now, but the serpent that's in the underworld of the Norse mythology, and how there's this element of that serpent in the underworld represents that which is like, what we give back to the earth to recycle and to bring decay. It almost has this mycelial connection where it's going to bring fruit, but there is this element of destruction and destroying. And are we going to let the path that we've been on and the stories that we have for ourselves and why we can't move on in life, like the serpent, kind of overtake our roots? Or is it just a matter of taming that serpent, if you will, and pacifying that serpent, or drawing out the venom of that story? And so it's really the story of the plantain, and not so much the medicine itself, but certainly, this is one of the most valuable medicines. If you put me on sometimes the question's been asked, Kyle, if you were on a desert island and you can only have 3 or 4 plants to bring with you, what would they be? And I was thinking to myself, well, I know I'm going to be walking a lot on the island, so I already know that plantain is just going to kind of show up. So I don't have to bring that one. That one's just going to come. But it's definitely a desert island plant for me because it is such a medicine chest in so many ways. I call it the path healer, the path restorer. This plantain is the path healer. It heals the path that we've been on. It heals our outer path, which is our boundary layer from penetration, and the inner boundary of our body too. It is wonderful at healing up the junctions between the cellular matrix of the intestines, the large intestines, the small intestines, when people have ulcerative colitis, when people have leaky gut, when people have lots of heat and irritation, something that's cooling and astringent that will draw those tissues back together, as well as pave them with some nice anti-inflammatory mucilage. So it heals the path from mouth to south, I guess you could say, from this whole path that we have all the way down, which is an inner reflection of our outer world as well. So, feeling stuck? Feeling like you're unable to move? You got this story of how you got there. Maybe you're looking back in the past and you're thinking, man, I really screwed up my life. I'm this much years old and everybody ahead of me is doing this. And gosh, and really beating yourself up for that. I would invite you to sit with some plantain, call on the medicine of the plantain, call on the spirit of plantain, flower essence. Work with a tincture of this plant. You could make a poultice of it. You could make a bath with it. I've recommended a bath of plantain for people who feel like they're visited by spirits that are just stuck to them. And incredibly, it works. It's not a plant that has a lot of history in witchcraft, but I take that back. Maybe it does. In the 9 herbs of the Anglo-Saxon poem, this one's called weg bread, which means way bread, the bread of the way, the bread of the path. So you need some nourishment on your path. You need some a trail of crumbs to let you know where you've been, where you can look back. But we see we don't walk in sight. We walk in faith. And the plantain helps us pull up what's stuck so that we can activate that fool's journey. Dive head first over the cliff if you're the rider weight. Dive back first if you're the Thulf guy. But be on that fool's journey and know that on the fool's journey, It is a hero's journey, and it is the journey of learning, and it's the path that we're always on. It's the path that we're always capable of learning. Mastery, never. Always, always learning. Thank you, Plantain, for teaching us about the left foot of the biofield and as an archetypical plant for that spirit. Kyle from Tippecanoe Herbs saying ciao for now.